If Sydney's central business district reaches its forecast maximum of 40 degrees today, it will be their hottest day since last summer and 14 degrees above the average.
Here in Chicago, the temperature is nothing to play with. Dangerous low, something the city hasn't seen in quite some time. Look at the river. It's all frozen. It looks like a winter playland. Schools have been shut down, warming centers have been set up all across the city, and there's a real worry about the homeless population here because if you're outside for any long period of time, frostbite has become a real concern. Out of Lake Michigan, it has been so cold you can see the steam actually rising.
This will go down in the books as Sydney's second hottest January on record. The sweltering heat has put extra pressure on the in-demand power supply across the state as many turn to fans and aircon in a bid to keep cool.
So a tale of two extremes leading things off for us today on CNN 10. But for the U.S. at least, relief is in sight, and it'll be a dramatic change. This week in Chicago, Illinois, temperatures drop down to 25 degrees below zero Fahrenheit. But by the end of the weekend, the city's expected to see temperatures rise by 75 degrees to the low 50s. Meteorologists expected Thursday to be the last day of extreme cold air in the U.S., at least temporarily. That's when 2/3 of the country's population woke up to temperatures below freezing, and about a quarter of Americans shivered in temperatures below zero. A volunteer firefighter in Wisconsin emerged from battling a house fire with his beard covered in ice. The wind chill, which is what the temperature feels like when the wind blows, was -50. A popular phrase associated with U.S. mail carriers is neither snow nor rain nor heat nor gloom of night keeps them from their rounds. But when Arctic temperatures frosted over the Midwest and Northeast, deliveries were suspended in parts of 6 states on Thursday. The Red Cross canceled hundreds of blood drives because of the cold weather. And in Michigan, a state that's used to weathering cold and driving snow, state government offices closed for 2 days in a row. One phrase we often hear when this kind of cold settles in is polar vortex. Here's Jennifer Gray to explain.
It's not a storm, it's not a hurricane of cold air, it's not even something that can come and get you. The only way to be in the polar vortex is to be in an airplane. It exists in the upper levels of the atmosphere and is always there. It's an area of low pressure around the Arctic Circle that's locked in place and houses some very cold air. Sometimes different weather patterns can influence the polar vortex and cause it to become distorted. As this happens, a large dip in the jet stream allows very cold air to spill into the U.S. That's the cold air you feel, the air that lives beneath the polar vortex, air that many times is so cold it can feel like something out of this world.
Another effect of all this winter weather is that many U.S. schools have been closed. Part of the reason's because of ice and snow, but part of it is because it's dangerous for students to wait at bus stops in the extreme cold. Schools have been shut down in the capital of Thailand as well, but for a very different reason. Officials in Bangkok are trying to reduce the number of cars on the road in an effort to tackle air pollution. But that's only one of several ways Thailand's trying to deal with the problem.
These are Thailand's latest pollution-fighting weapons. Dozens of drones dispatched in a desperate attempt to battle toxic smog in Bangkok by spraying a water and molasses solution to catch air particles.
We are doing this because we think it will get better. If we do nothing, we'll be criticized for doing nothing.
But the plan has a number of critics.
The drone operation that launched today morning, actually it's a stunt, it's useless operation.
A murky haze has been choking the capital for weeks now, sparking criticism over the government's uneven response just weeks ahead of elections. Students across Bangkok were dismissed from class early on Wednesday after authorities ordered the closure of hundreds of schools for the rest of the week.
I don't want school to be closed because it's getting close to the final exam, but I'm worried about my kids' health.
I heard on the news that schools were closed, so I rushed here. My son's health is not good. He coughs a lot and always has to use a nasal spray.
Thailand's Department of Pollution says air quality in Bangkok has fallen to harmful levels as the amount of hazardous dust particles known as PM2.5 exceeded safe levels in more than 40 areas around the capital. These microscopic particles are small enough to lodge deep into the lungs and pass onto other organs.
Ever-increasing number of automobiles in the city. Another source is also coming from factory, large-scale burning from plantation, from mining, from deforestation in Cambodia.
Authorities have tried everything from seeding rain clouds to hosing down streets to control the pollution crisis, but have so far failed to clear the air. Christy Lou-Stout, CNN.
10-second trivia. What football team has won the most Super Bowls? San Francisco 49ers, New England Patriots, Pittsburgh Steelers, or Dallas Cowboys? Only the Pittsburgh Steelers have won 6 Super Bowls. The other teams on this list have each won 5. Super Bowl 53 will be played right behind me here in Atlanta, Georgia this weekend. It is one of the most watched U.S. television events. As much as a third of the country is estimated to tune in for the game. The National Retail Federation, a U.S.-based trade association, estimates that Americans will spend almost $15 billion for the game. But that's not on tickets. It includes things like team clothing, decorations, new TVs, most of all, food. The National Chicken Council says almost 1.4 billion chicken wings will be eaten this weekend. Frito-Lay expects that 80% of Americans will eat potato or tortilla chips while watching the game. Domino's and Pizza Hut say they'll sell a combined total of 3.5 million pizzas on Super Bowl Sunday. And if you are looking for a last-minute ticket, prices on Thursday were between $2,500 for one nosebleed seat and $14,000 for something close to the 50-yard line. Kickoff for the game between the Los Angeles Rams and the New England Patriots is scheduled for 6:30 p.m. 10 out of 10 today comes to us courtesy of some California sheriff's deputies who recently rescued a lost bull elephant seal. They teamed up with Fish and Wildlife officials to coax him, this probably counts as coaxing, to head back across the road and toward the sea. That's easier said than done for a massive mammal that can weigh up to 5,000 pounds, but he did make it back to his herd. We may never know why the elephant seal crossed the road. Maybe he was just snout for a walk. Maybe he made a rookery mistake. Maybe he thought it was a safe crossing for pedestrians. Either way, it seals up another show on a happy note, so there's nothing for him to blubber about. I'm Carl Azuz for CNN 10.